In three, two, one, and welcome everyone from hopefully your homes. No, not to hopefully your homes, from our homes to you. Welcome to FrameCast 36, right here from quarantined Europe. How are you doing
Is it
today?
really 36?
Yeah, I think last time we did
Bloody hell.
35.
I don't know. It just flies by. Right, cool. Yes, quarantined. Quarantine is such a loose term. You can still go outside.
Yeah, you kind of can. It's not like in France you'll be fined or put in jail if you go outside, but here we're still fine going outside.
Bullshit. You'll be fined.
Yeah, you will be
Are you
fined.
serious?
Yes, and in Italy, if you go outside and you don't have the right papers, you can be jailed for 12 years or so, I've read. But those are things I read, so don't take them too seriously.
I call bullshit.
Yeah, well, I hope it's bullshit. I really hope. But do stay inside, though, if you're ordered to, or if you have to. Just, don't spread this further than you have to, because it's
Okay.
kind of serious. But anyway, how's life inside?
Boring. Though, my company decided last week that we were going to work from home
Mhm.
the entire time, for the next 2 weeks. However, I have a health risk due to a underlying heart condition,
Mhm.
and it was really funny because one of the directors called me over and was just like, "Yeah, can I have a word? Can I have a word?" I'm just like, "Okay, I don't think I've done anything wrong, because if I have, it wouldn't be you who's talking to me." So I just, it's like, "Yeah, so we decided to do this thing. However, you're not allowed to come in tomorrow." So this was Thursday. And
Mhm.
you're not allowed to come in on Friday. I'm like, but my breakfast and my lunch. But my breakfast and my lunch. And we had a dev lunch, and we've got I don't know, 30 developers,
Mhm.
right? Only 4 were able to go.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the rest of us were like, nope. Either you're not allowed to go, or they were stuck in a meeting or some shit like this.
Let's just go with that. They're really solid coworkers, and they're like, if Drew's not going, I'm not going either.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, so for the next week and a bit, I am still working from home. So I've just had JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Star Trek: The Next Generation on the other monitor while I've been working,
Nice.
just for some companionship.
So, do you feel extra cautious because you have an extra risk to it, or is it just another
No,
thing?
no, it's just I'd if I'm not going to die from the flu, actually no, this is actually more serious than I always thought that COVID-19 was a flu virus,
Mm-hmm.
but apparently it's more associated to is it MRSA? I can't remember what it's called. A friend of mine in the NHS actually told me about it, and I was just like, "Oh, this is actually more serious than I thought it was." I think one of them was SARS,
Yeah,
so it is
it's a
it's
little
kind of
closer
serious,
aligned
but
to SARS. But yeah, let's
yeah, SARS and MERS. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's something that you have to be careful with, regardless. But yeah, hope everything will be alright. Hope you watching here or listening are alright. And
cures everything.
Dr. Pepper, he shows Dr. Pepper
Yeah,
Zero.
yeah, cures everything.
All right, so today on the Framecast, we're trying to do some things a little bit differently than usual. Normally, we tackle one big topic, but since COVID-19 is the biggest thing that everyone's talking about, and there's very little that's actually really going on right now in games industry, media industry. We're having a wild variety of topics today, and I want to go over very quickly over the topics that we're going to discuss today. Maybe I'll put some timestamps if you're watching this on YouTube, so you can find your topic. But please do watch everything for the watch time. And what else do you have to do today? You're just sitting inside, hopefully. Anyway, regardless, let's go over the topics that we have for today. We have E3 and most other conferences cancelled in light of COVID-19 spell trouble for the future of large-scale public marketing showcase events. Then topic 2 is indie games are worried about being badly affected by the cancellation of important gaming conferences like GDC and E3. Third topic, Steam has record-breaking 20 million plus active concurrent users during worldwide COVID quarantine. And the final topic is folding at home, allowing people to aid COVID-19 research with their own computers sees notable rise in participants, which clear out work unit queries in just a matter of days. So, let's get started with the first topic. E3 got cancelled the day after our last Framecast on the 11th of March. The Entertainment Software Association announced on the 11th of March that the 25th edition of E3 would not be held in light of the coronavirus during 2020. E3 generally draws around 65,000 people to LA, which consists of like 50,000 people that are industry professionals and 15,000 people that are fans. The ESA said it was discussing with members to do an online event in June. Now, why is this important? Why should you care about E3 happening or not happening if you weren't intending on going? Well, the thing is that E3 is a very big important place for like a very important physical event where big reveals from major publishers to small publishers to the next generation of consoles are revealed in that location. So this year, Nintendo had pledged that it would go to E3. Microsoft was planning to reveal more information about its new Xbox Series X console, which is like the next generation, not the Xbox One X, but the Series X. But yeah, now with all the major game events getting wiped out in the US, the next big is Gamescom, which happens in Germany in August, but who knows how that thing goes. However, because of the cancellation of these on-location events, many companies are now reportedly looking into online press conference, so hosting them by themselves and then sharing it online. Most important announcements that we're looking out for are the 2020 next generation of consoles. These online releases could actually be done both cheaper and more efficiently than if you had to like travel everything to that E3 event, as has been done in previous years. So the fears are that because this year everyone's kind of forced to do it on their own, maybe next year E3 might not exist anymore, because why would you do it? Last year already, big industry names like Sony, EA, and Blizzard already pulled out of E3 in favor of their own events. With this year's cancellations, industry trends might change. That could be the demise of events like E3. So, first topic. I think we saw also a comment that E3 was going to be cancelled. If not for... Go ahead.
So, I'm going to talk about my feels for this. I do not think E3 is going to be flat out sold. There is something serious to consider with these sorts of events. The fact that you get to get your hands on the actual game. You get to try it out first, right? I got to play, was it Shadows of the Tomb Raider? Yes, not Rise. Yeah, Shadows of the Tomb Raider, which was the third in the trilogy of the rebooted Lara Croft Tomb Raider franchise, and I didn't enjoy it, right? I got to play Dead Cells, right? And I thoroughly enjoyed it. You get to discover things that you wouldn't necessarily discover through normal standard terms of marketing or even just word of mouth, right? I think out of everyone I knew, right, like I was the one that found Dead Cells first because I went to EGX a few years back. I've been to things like Gamescom, and being able to physically get your hands on the game to try it, I think carries so much weight that the physical events will still happen, even if it's just not going to be this year.
I can see that. I can definitely agree. I've been to EGX 2 times, and being able to actually like see the things for yourself, play it for yourself, has such bigger of an impact on me to like understand what's going on, other than just like watching an advertisement on Twitch, which who knows whether I might watch. However, the thing is that whenever I went to EGX, like I would never really queue up for like the big names, for like the big console names, like I think Destiny 2 was the last time. What was the other thing? Like 2 years ago at 2 or 3 years ago in EGX, when there was like this big, I think Titanfall or something, the big title that like EA kind of like released at a really wrong time to compete with its own title, and then kind of like fell away. I don't know what it was. Anyway,
it was probably Titanfall 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, I honestly don't remember. I don't
Hmm.
remember it.
Yeah. Well, it.
But I get where you're coming from. Like,
Hmm.
one of the more important things to consider when it comes to events like Gamescom or EGX is the fact that, yeah, okay, you can play the big titles, right? Like, I played the Spider-Man game because I didn't own a PS4. I wanted to see what it was like. Was it getting a PS4 4?
Hmm.
But um the big thing I typically do when I go to one of these conventions is I typically go for the more indie based games, or I will occasionally go for a AAA title if I'm on the fence. Like, I did that with the Division 2,
Hmm.
and that really put me off the Division 2. It wasn't as dystopian as the first one. I loved the first one because of how dystopian it was.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, it's sad that there's been so many cancellations, but I don't think there's any fear of these events not coming back.
Well, hold on. I'm just gonna set our region very quickly to US East because you're a little bit spotty. So let's see whether that will improve
Because I'm a
our
little what?
your the connection was a little bit spotty. Like it was like you were mosaic on the screen most of the time. This looks better though. So US East for the win. Um, uh, I agree to an extent because like the thing that I'm kind of worried about is that um I really enjoy during these conferences to discover, especially indie games, especially games which aren't on the big theater yet, which like I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool, and like being able to speak with the developers on scene. However, I don't necessarily go there for like the big reveal. Well, most of the time EJX didn't have the big reveals, but I don't really go there for the big names because most of the time these names are already capable of doing themselves. Like let's say Nintendo has already been doing their Nintendo Direct for like years, and everyone is watching that. Um, and why is that important? Because I feel that a large part of these events, the weight that they carry, the amount of people that come towards them, or like the way that they're like funded is mainly because of like these big name these big companies that are investing to go there and investing to be there with such a giant stage where you have like the Keanu Reeves moment of your breathtaking, like that's Xbox right there with Cyberpunk. However, I feel that these bigger companies might realize that they can, for a fraction of the price, get the similar amount of attention for just doing their own Nintendo Direct stream without having to travel. And even though that might eliminate like the experience that people can have than hands-on the floor with their big titles, I think that that will be less of a negative consequence because people are mostly already aware of these titles. And I don't know how big of an impact it would be if they didn't have these cons where like 15,000 fans and 50,000 like industry folks would not be able to then play it on their on the show floor, where most of the time when we're talking about industry folks, especially when we're talking about journalists, they're going to be able to get these as review copies anyway. So I think that what's going to be really interesting, we might see these big companies say, hey, we can do our own direct. We can do our own live stream because we've done that last year. Why should we come back? And if they don't come back, then that would be really interesting. And like, how would it continue to go on? Because like, I don't know whether E3 or big conferences like that would be able to carry themselves kind of solely on the backs of like indie developers that do not have that reach on their own.
I think that there is. I think there's more to these gaming convention things because with the successful announcements of new game consoles or new big titles like not sorry new but like big titles like Cyberpunk 2077 with Keanu
Mm-hmm.
Reeves, all stuff like this, I feel has a center stage. So if
Mm-hmm.
everyone turns around and starts going, right, well, we're no longer going to be going to, you know, Gamescom. We're no longer going to be going to E3 or anything like this. I think that it is a foolhardy mistake because those big platforms, their job is to be the center of attention. And if you start to compete with these big things, then it's like you're not going to win, right? Perfect example. Different platform entirely. Perfect example. Origin and Steam, right? Or Uplay and Steam, right? Or Epic Game Store and Steam. Games for Windows Live, right? Legitimate service folds up because they cannot compete with Steam. And then Microsoft go and actually do a new service, right? Like some kind of gaming app store thing, and to try and compete again. And it's just like, no, just realize one thing. Steam, right? Steam. And like, you know, so example, if EA were to turn around and is like, oh, we have EA-Con, right? Not to be confused with their AirCon, but EA-Con. And like, yeah, but you're trying to compete with E3. Like, you're just not going to succeed. So they'll have to do it staggered. So like, it's a different venue. It's a different, it's a different month, right? It could be like 2 or 3 months beforehand or 2 or 3 months afterwards. But like, you couldn't, or even then, you've got things like Gamescom, you've got things like Eurogamer, you've got PAX, right? You know, you've got BlizzCon, right? You know, no matter what, BlizzCon will always sell out, right? I cannot envision a time in the future that BlizzCon tickets will not sell out because there is such a love for it.
I mean,
You know?
I mean, the fact that Blizzard has been fucking up for years in a row, and people are still selling out. It's like, yep,
exactly.
I mean, it's not going to be that bad. I think that you do hit a very interesting point. I believe that many of these speculations come from, of course, Nintendo a few years ago already stepping out of this and doing their own Nintendo Direct thing. But I feel that Nintendo is a very like separate ecosystem thing. Like, Nintendo does what Nintendo does, and sometimes Nintendo does very well, and sometimes Nintendo does a Wii U, and then Nintendo doesn't do very well. But like, I feel that Nintendo can more so afford to do this because like most of their successful titles are in-house titles, so like you can't get them anywhere else. Whereas well, this year obviously isn't the year that PlayStation isn't around, Xbox now isn't around. I mean, I think last year PlayStation wasn't around for the first year. But what you get instead was we got Keanu Reeves memes with the Xbox stage. And the thing is that I feel that the difference between PlayStation and Xbox and PC is so much slimmer than like these free consoles and Nintendo. That
what do you mean slimmer?
In the sense of like, if I want to play, let's say, Warframe, Fortnite, I don't know, Call of Duty's on PC as well.
So there's a lot of crossover.
There's a lot of crossover. Like, there are so many games which you can play on any of these platforms. Whereas if I want to play a Mario game, I can only do that on Nintendo. If I want to play The Legend of Zelda, I can only do that on Nintendo. So Nintendo much more has its own ecosystem. Whereas, yes, there are exclusives on these other platforms. However, if Xbox steals the stage, it might be like Xbox might actually gain more of an edge by just being there, and PlayStation might not be able to like afford. Like, it really depends on like how independent these ecosystems are, but I think that they're very like crossover between each other and relying on each other, like these free platforms.
I get where you're coming from, but I also feel that Nintendo have certainly opened up the doors. At no point in time would I ever expect Doom 2016 or even Doom Eternal to come out on the Switch. I would never see that coming, right? From you know, we got The Witcher 3 with all its nudity, right? That, you know, that came out on the Switch. And I think Nintendo, they've taken a long time to get there, but they've realized that the kids that grew up with the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, the GameCube, the N64, they're all adults now, and they're still gamers, and they still want to, people still want to experience their games and things. So they have broadened the scope of their platform to include titles that would be more entertaining to the older generations, right? So things like The Witcher. I can't envision, a 13, 14-year-old, okay, maybe a 13 or a 14-year-old. I can't envision like a 10-year-old, right? Or a 12-year-old having any enjoyment in The Witcher, right? Even so, 13 and 14, I think they would struggle. They're like, they would just see, oh, look, I can see his bum, but it's only the older generations that will truly get with it. And likewise, same with Doom and Doom Eternal. Like, it's the older generations that I think will truly get with those games. And likewise, we've seen all this fan art parody stuff of, oh god, Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing New Horizon, because they're being both released on the same day. So I think Nintendo have like really kicked it back up.
Yeah, I think it's funny because like they have really focused hard with Nintendo on like on getting third party games on their systems, and in the past, whenever they did that, it was for their most successful system. So the Wii had crazy third party support. Like seriously, you could even get a Call of Duty on the Wii. I think they ported a couple of them over, and the DS also had crazy third party support, which was like insane. Anyway, hold on. Should I turn off my webcam? Let me see how I do that. But yeah, like, turn off the camera. Boom. Let's fix it up. Boom. But yeah, no. Getting back to the conferences, getting back to whether this might be a big blow for E3 or other conferences. Yeah, I think I agree that there's always going to be a lot of worth in having like on location announcements. The only thing that might deter it is like I don't know what the costs are for shipping and like moving to such a location and setting everything up. If those costs are really, really immense and the effects of like the announcement right now aren't that much worse, there might be a year or two where they're like, well, let's try this out. But I really hope that the conferences are here to stay because like they're cool.
I mean,
they're awesome and like they're cool social hangout too.
One of the bigger things that is a detraction from the likes of what's the name of the EGX, right? So you would never see the bigger studios. You would never see Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo themselves at EGX because there was two key things that was limiting it, right? One, it wasn't in London. And two, there weren't enough people, right? Now, the reason why it left London is because these big studios wouldn't go. No, sorry. The reason why it left London is because they couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Because people wouldn't. Sorry, I got hiccups. So I apologize. Right. The reason why it left London is because people wouldn't go because it is London, right? We're not talking about the heart of the country. We're not talking about the dead center of the country. We're talking about in the bloody corner, right? It's just like way down in the corner, down here, yeah. And as a result, people wouldn't go. It's also exceptionally expensive to A, get to London, and B, even stay in London, right? So they thought, hey, why not move to a bigger, cheaper venue? And they moved to the NEC in Birmingham, right? Birmingham. So in Birmingham, right? And as a result, people were more readily available to get to because Birmingham is a hub for the train network, right? If you want to get to London from the north, you have to go through Birmingham. Right? If you want to go from the north, northwest, right? You have to go through. right? The only lines that you wouldn't go through Birmingham is either direct south from like Cardiff, direct across the east to London, or direct north going south to London, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much everything else you had to go through Birmingham, right? So they're like, Birmingham's cheaper. People can stay in Birmingham. There are hotels around the venue. Let's just fucking do it there. And everyone loved it. But the big studios still wouldn't come because it wasn't London.
Mm-hmm.
No one gives a fuck about London. No one likes London. It's horrifically expensive, right? So when you've got stupid mentalities like this, of course an event can't thrive. The last EGX, the tickets didn't sell out.
Oh, because they moved it back to London again, didn't they?
Yeah. They moved it back to London. So the Super Pass tickets, which typically go within a matter of days, right, did not sell out over the course of months.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Oh man. Anyway,
Yep.
I think that's everything on topic 1.
Should we see if there are any questions from chat? Because we're doing this as a topic by topic thing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Should we see if anyone from chat should give chat a few minutes to catch up, see if they have any questions. They might have any questions. But what's the delay on this? Do we have transcoders?
I don't know.
We don't have.
I think we do have transcoders on Twitch, so we should be fine. But I'd never know about like Twitch delay, how much that is. It could be anything from like a second to 10. And then people always have to think of questions and stuff like that. Questions. They don't have like them copy pasted on like a Word doc. Maybe you should do that. And if you're watching this as a repeat, just post them in the chat, the comment section, description. Post them in the description. Post them in the like button and the subscribe button.
If you're watching it on YouTube?
No, if you're watching this on YouTube.
Right. Okay. Well, we've had one person say I've got nothing, so should we continue?
Yeah, let's move on. We're kind of staying we're kind of staying in the same corner because not just are these cancellations of these events like leading people to worry about the future of these events, but indie games are also worried about being badly affected by the cancellation of important gaming conferences like GDC or E3. Indie games are worried about their continuation, as each year they count on big conferences like GDC, the Game Developer Conference, to network, get the word out about their game, and sell their game. Whilst big publishers have their own online platforms that they can rely on to announce upcoming events, indie developers have a far smaller reach. Therefore, they tend to heavily rely on conferences to get the word out and subsequently spend a lot of money / their time on releasing, or they spend a lot of money / time their releases on these important events, based on these important events. So without these events, many developers are worried that their months of work on their games will be lost, as indie games could very likely perform a lot more poorly without these conferences, as the word doesn't get out, and of course they're having to suffer losses of flights that they can't get back, and investments that they made into like hotel reservations and stuff like that. Combine that with potentially poor performance of their games because the word doesn't get out, they're kind of really, really worried about this situation now.
Do we have any examples, like any game developers that have openly said this?
There have been. I haven't been able to get examples while I was making this list, but I have been seeing a lot of Twitter threads pop up on my Twitter recently from people within the industry talking about how their studios are having trouble and trying to see if they could make mega threads on Twitter where everyone would like throw in their own indie games that people could find out about them. I think it is very like it's something which I can understand very well, because as we said earlier, or as I said earlier, whenever I would go to EGX, like the thing that I would be most excited about is discovering the indie games, because I didn't know about them. I didn't know that they would be releasing. And if you're launching a brand new indie game, like you're not going to have a dev stream where over like 40,000 people watch you talk about your game because they don't know about it. And yeah, that could be a pretty tough thing, especially if you're launching your very first game. So yeah, go ahead.
I completely agree. I actually like the fact that these companies have turned around. They've banded together to, try and bring up awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if while I'm talking, if you could find any of these hashtags, these mega threads or whatever, I'd seriously love to see them, because I love the indie games. I love, I keep saying I love Dead Cells. I think Dead Cells is one of the best indie games out there. It is a real solid case for good Metroidvania type games. With rogue light elements. So I can totally understand and appreciate where these developers are coming from. And I think that potentially one of the bigger solutions could be platforms like Reddit, like Twitter. I think that a lot of people read Kotaku or Polygon or Rocket Paper Shotgun a lot less. I
Mm-hmm.
think that there is a lot of worth in social media. So,
Yes.
being able, yeah.
So one thing which I am linking you now, which I'm also going to be showing here on screen, which decides to not work right now. Wow, I had it working right at the start. Wow, 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 wow. Thank you so much,
You're
uh,
welcome.
OBS, for
Yeah.
deciding to not. Oh, here we go. All right, so I have the wrong thing on my hotkey. We do have it working. Cool. Here we go. Awesome. So what we have right here is Gamepedia. A tweet. It seems like with COVID-19's impact on gaming consoles, lots of indie devs have lost out on valuable and expensive promo opportunities. We're launching a free program to let you use our social media to reach your games. We call it Bridging Social Distance. So I've seen this before. I didn't prepare to read this, so let's just read it together. Basically, it's fill out the form for a tweet-sized promo for your game, and we'll do what we can to get your game out to our audiences. No official wiki partnership required, but you can indicate if you want one. Retweets are appreciated to help find more indie devs. So yeah, basically, there's also a bunch of there's only one here. There have been more threads. I'm gonna look for more of them, but basically, it seems like something like Gamepedia right here. I'm not familiar with them, but they do have 125,000 followers. There are people that are working to see if they can get more word of mouth of cool indie games that are out right now, which I think is a good thing, and I think that that's the way forward to try and do this, because how else would you get the word out about your first indie game if you were hoping in a conference and then the conference doesn't happen?
So I think this holds a lot of credit, a lot of value. But I think one of the larger problems with this is it's not truly a good platform to attempt to bring people together. Personally, I would prefer to see more of a table view of all this information. Have
Mm-hmm.
it so that I can see all the games. Maybe I can filter them by genre. Maybe I can, maybe there's videos that could go with each game.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't get me wrong, I am all for this, but I don't think social media is the perfect platform to advertise every game, because it's so easy to just miss something. I mean, how often do people tweet something or message something and I've had to create dedicated oh god tweet deck columns, right,
Mm-hmm.
for specific individuals, because they tweet so infrequently. I will easily miss their tweet,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm all on board for this. I think this is a heroic, valiant effort, but I think this really could do with going one step further. Being
Yeah.
able to show off the game.
Yeah, it's tough because like there's so much on social media that's going on. That's like it's really hard to like get the word out. And when you're like on the show floor, when you're actually like at a con, then like you can't access everything on the internet. So you can only access what is there literally in the physical space in front of you. So you have like a manageable amount of games which you can visit over the weekend or the 4 days that the con is on, so that you can like see what it is. Right now, it's gonna be, if everyone's posting their game out there, it's really hard to like find like the tree in the forest. So I have another thing right here which I linked you to. Apparently, this is a Twitch streamer that's calling out to indie devs um, if they're looking for um, spreading their game, they will just like play. They would like to feature their game on their Twitch channel for free every, let's see, next month, a new indie game every day, and below that you find you can already find like a bunch of devs sharing their own games in that thread, which is already like really cool to see like these projects pop up. But already like you're starting to see like this is not a really large threat, but you're already seeing like, okay, shit, like, which ones do you check out? How you're gonna go and like figure out which one is cool. So like something like a website or something where like there's a manageable size of games to check out, and maybe with like a little demo or maybe a little like video to show what it is could be great. Or maybe if you were to use something like Twitch or something like YouTube to like have a continuous like stream event where over time, like every 15 minutes something new is shown, or I don't know. I definitely think there are ways of getting the word out, but the infinite largeness and like large amount of information on the internet is definitely a constraint or like a hurdle to overcome in trying to like get the word out.
Thinking about this, there's already a platform that exists that I think would do perfectly well for this. That's Twitch, right? Twitch is realistically the best place. So what you could do, right, is work with Twitch streamers, right? And so we Twitch could set up a big event where they have Twitch streamers in one hand and they have indie developers in the other, right? Then the indie developers, right, get mixed and matched with the streamers, right? So all the streamers have access to a plethora of games, right? So for example, say you're on there and you're like, right, okay, I want to sign up to this, and this. And then before you start, you have already downloaded the game, the show floor version of the game. And then while you're there on your stream, you have a camera feed coming from, or maybe it's just an audio feed, coming from someone that is there talking to you about the game, or you could just opt not to have that, right? And there you are, just playing the game. So you have the choice of either following the game, right? Seeing people go from, playthrough to playthrough to playthrough, and then you could follow the streamer. So the streamer could go, right, I'm going to show you Dead Cells, then I'm going to show you what was the name of that game that there's another game that I wanted to get from last time I went to Egypt. Or they could show you Phoenix Point, or they could show you Lost Kingdom, or they could show you. So basically you could either follow the streamer going from game to game to game as if you were there, or you could follow the game and see multiple different different Twitch streamers play the game to get it from different perspectives, right? And just basically being able to experience the show floor.
I would really like that idea. Like one variation or something that I was thinking about that you might be able to do in order to bring awarenesses, because they're kind of like two problems with Twitch. If you're like, how do we get like all the eyes on like this one stream? Because like either you're doing it with one streamer in the directory, and then why would people watch the directories? And then they're like, the people are bound by the streamer. But if it's only one streamer playing all the games, then you only have the reach of just that one single streamer. So I was thinking, what if there would be like a front page event where on like one channel on the front page of Twitch, like there would be like a weekend indie showcase, and indie developers can sign up for that, so that you have like a list of indie games that are to be promoted, and then you have Twitch streamers that have to qualify for with like certain qualifications, whether that be in track record of professionalism, whether that be in reach, whether that be in whatever like prerequisites you want to put in there, and they can sign up then, and then they can like team up that like on a certain schedule you will have games being shown with like the streamers playing them. So you have like one place which is on the front page of Twitch where everyone can come into, regardless of whether they're familiar with the streamer or with the game. And then you have a schedule of the games that are coming up and the streamers that are going to be streaming them, so people can tune in for their streamer and tune in for their game. And then I would say that you'd probably have to like, you're going to show every game like more than once, so you're going to have more streamers play like different streamers play the same game, so you have different inputs.
Yeah.
So that every day you have like this rotating scheme depending on how many indie games there are. But I think that if you do that for like 3 to 4 days, that could be like a really, really good event for both streamers and for the indie developers. Actually, I think that that's a really, really good idea. I like that.
Yeah. And I think, I think it really lends well. Like Twitch is, like, I don't often praise Twitch, but Twitch is an extremely good platform for something like this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But I totally get why indie developers are concerned, because as we have too rightly said many times now, flogging the dead horse, we have gone to gaming conventions and it's the indie games that we go play, because they're the ones that that's where you find out about them.
Yeah, definitely. And like I mean, for the big games, it's like even at Destiny 2, that was the last EGX, like they have their own dev streams, or like they have their own platform that people can tune into to figure out what's going on. Most indie developers don't have that. And so I hope that that's something which can happen with Twitch. I think that would be a really cool thing. So yeah.
YouTube also potentially has YouTube could do this, but I don't think they could do it to the same degree, because Twitch has the directory which already shows off the games. I mean, they would just have to make a special indie event directory which would only have the indie games for that event, so that it would be a separate directory. But YouTube, since they cancelled YouTube Gaming, it doesn't have anything like that. It doesn't work. But YouTube Gaming was garbage.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Well, the thing is with Twitch is like, if you do this event on like one single channel on like the front page, then you have just one place where this all goes down. And like we've done something like this before with Warframe, but like you could do something with like this under like the Twitch indie games idea. And then people that just click on Twitch, that just go to the Twitch site, or will be confronted with that stream, and we'll see that. Because you have like a lot of people that will tune in for their streamer, like with hosting, like traffic can be directed to that source. With YouTube, it's way harder to like, are you gonna make like a like 24-hour long video about every single game? Like you're not really gonna do that, because no one's gonna watch that. And if you're not going to do that, well, like, where are you going to direct your traffic to? It's like, oh, just watch this entire playlist of videos about all these games. Like, no one's going to do that. So I think that Twitch is maybe like the most ideal place to do something like this. Yeah.
I think another big thing going for Twitch is you could actually expand it as a platform and say people could host. They could host, is it, or raid, or host. They could host
and raid,
but they could host the game or raid the game, and not a channel, right? That way, I've played all these games. You've only just joined us. Well, I'm closing down now. This is the game I want to direct you to, right? And then it would direct you to whoever, right, is the streamer for that game at the time.
I don't necessarily think that you would do that, because if you would do such an event, you would like run it for 4 days straight, so that like, because if you want to get to the front page of Twitch, like there is always going to be like a queue of people that will be listed for the front page of Twitch, and Twitch will put you there. But every time you restart your stream, it takes a while for you to get there. So most likely you will make this like one event where people will sit through a stream. Like there will be stream for 4 days, and every like hour or whatever, half an hour, there will be like a new game on. And like most likely they won't that stream won't host anyone because like that will be kind of unfair at the end of the like 4 days.
No,
But
I'm talking about individual uh, streamers would be streaming at the time those games. So,
mhm.
say Frozen Balls was streaming, and Frozen Balls is like, oh, I could either show you what Tactical Potato is streaming because I like Tactical Potato, he's a cool dude,
Mhm.
or I could show you whoever is streaming Dead Cells because Dead Cells I'm super excited for. I think Dead Cells has the most potential, and that is the game I want to give the most coverage to.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, like
and then that will jump to Daniel the Demon, who is
yeah.
currently playing Dead.
Yeah, well, like most definitely, if like especially if you have like a like streamers can sign up and they discover the game for playing it for like that showcase event, and they
Yeah,
stick around with it because their communities like it, you will be amping up those directories as well, which will be a really good thing.
yeah,
So let's see comments here on this topic, because I think that we've gotten to a bit of a conclusion. Sakamus
yeah.
says, not much of a question, but do you think that any of these tactics and action taken this year will add to future in-person events, making it more accessible to the stay-at-home crowd, or do you think that it will affect attendance at the physical event much? Let's see. Watching streams like that just sounds like getting my driver's license, work. um,
I feel that streams like this will not negatively impact the crowd, the attendees, right? I think it will potentially negatively impact the foreign crowd. Like, you know, I could go to BlizzCon and spend an absolute fucking fortune doing it, or I could just spend a fraction of the money and get all the good shit right in front of me, you know? So I think that would be a negative, but
mhm.
I think the people that would want to buy a ticket that couldn't because I bought a ticket would still fill the gap. I still
Yeah.
think there would be plenty of domestic people that would go.
I actually think that what Sakamis is proposing is actually something that could be very much like a positive addition because like as we're saying, like the thing that we really enjoy about cons like EGX isn't necessarily like hearing about the games, it's being able to like see them in person, like play them, right?
Yeah.
Like that, like you don't really get that experience from sitting at home watching a Twitch stream. Like you're gonna do other things. So like if you would go, like it doesn't really replace that experience. However, like these cons are really like closed off in the sense of like E3 is well streamed, but EGX isn't really like that well live streamed. Like you can't really get an EGX experience at all if you're at home. And if they're enabling that
E3
now,
is not what E3 is not live streamed. What are you talking about?
well, E3 has moments which might not be like live stream, but they're like we have the entire
Oh,
panel
like the
of
stages. The stages.
yeah
Yes.
the
Sorry, I
stages.
understand what you mean.
So like E3 has it a lot more. EGX has that a lot less. And if these events are now trying to like figure out how to do that live, then that could be an extra addition where not only like the 65,000 people at the con will be able to like experience it, but also people that will never be able to make it will be able to experience something, adding to the value of the event, maybe.
I love the ambition. I just don't think it's physically possible because I cannot think of maybe the Anaheim place that BlizzCon goes to. I cannot think of a venue that has a viable enough internet connection to do what we want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we have gone to EGX, you might be able to hook up to their Wi-Fi for like the first hour, right? But then as soon as people come into the actual, but nope, the Wi-Fi is completely flooded. No,
Yeah.
like even mobile phone reception, because there are so many people in the same one space that are gamers. They use the internet, like it's just gone. So regardless of that, you then got to consider the whole wired situation. Right now, do you know what your upload speed is to Twitch?
At the moment, I think we're uploading at like 3.5, like 3,500
Right.
kilobytes a second, 4,000, something like that.
Right. So basically 3.5 megabytes per
Yeah.
second. Right. Megabits per second.
Yeah.
Right. Which is reasonable, right?
Mhm.
But then how many indie game developers would there be at an event like this? Right?
Many.
Many. So let's say that's 50,
Yeah.
right? So you're talking then, right? What's it called? 150 over 150 megabytes. Sorry, megabits per second. So 15 megabytes per second upload, right?
Mhm.
At least. Yeah. I I don't know of a single place that has that kind of upload that isn't a huge organization like a university, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I do genuinely love the idea, but I cannot envision it working with today's world, right? With today's internet infrastructure. It just doesn't exist.
Well, maybe like if the idea that we're bringing forward is like having this one stream that lasts for 4 days, where like all these games, indie games, are connected to like streamers and they're like streamed on rotation on this one channel, then like you would just have this one stream added, which might like add more value depending on like how successful this would be.
Yeah.
And I think that like the organizers do have way better internet. Like I've never been able to stream at any con, like not via my mobile phone or anything, not even at TennoCon. But at TennoCon they do have like the streamer booth and like their own stages, which they are able to live stream because they do apparently have an internet that works, like regardless for the Wi-Fi.
They just won't let the guests on it.
Nope, which is good. But as you're saying, like there are so many people who will be on it that it will just be borked anyway. So like better like separate the two.
But then you also have to consider, again, not poo-pooing the idea that this can work. You also have to consider you can't do the stream for 24 hours, right? You can do the stream for like 8 hours a day. Yeah, at most. And it has to be during the time zone of the stream. I remember
Or it depends. Like you could do, like let's say that the con opens at 8 or 9, depending. Like I don't know what cons generally open at, but 8 or 9, and it closes off at like 6, 5 or 6. Then during those 10 hours that the con's open, the stream is happening on the con floor, and then once the con closes, like they'll have streamers that they've like partnered up with that will then take over. That will then stream towards like the channel. Remotely. So then you could also have streamers from other places join in, because right now you would do such an event without having a centralized location, and then you would only have like during those 10 hours it will be just from the con floor, and then like when the con's closed, then like you could still like have this thing go on with streamers from somewhere else where they like teamed up with them. So it could be possible, but yeah, like as you're saying, like the con is bound by times, and once the con doesn't do 24/7.
Yeah. So I mean, at least with the thing that we've proposed, what they could do is right, Jim, I know you love us and I know that you're scared, but we need you to do 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. Right? Can you do that for us? Can you pretty please do that for like, or again, it might be a case of that the indie developers they will not be there all the time, but at least you can still demo the game to the audience.
Yeah. Right. So, anything else that we want to say on this topic?
I don't think so. I think we're good to move on to the next one.
All right, next topic then. Let's go. Steam has record-breaking 20 million plus concurrent active users during worldwide COVID quarantine. So, with most of Europe and large parts of the United States and Canada under quarantine, or people being advised to stay at home, the Steam Charge reported over 20 million active concurrent players on Steam during Sunday, March 15th, with over 6 million people actively playing a game at that time. Comparatively to the holiday season of 2019, they only had like 17 million concurrent players active on Steam, which is like quite an important thing, because mostly for games, and especially online games, like the holiday season is the time where you don't have to release anything because people will be playing anyway, because like holidays, people are at home, people will be playing games. It's like the only one time that there's actually like always a consistent player boost. but still, there were 3 million less concurrent active players than like last Sunday because of everyone being at home. So yeah, that's an interesting thing. It's something that we were kind of expecting with, like, people being at home. So be having more and longer access to their entertainment services like Steam, and seeing that rise in numbers is quite interesting. There's also like I also added a tab with like companies that are adding benefits, because like right now people are kind of expecting like more people are staying at home, so there's companies like Discord that are increasing their live streaming capacity on their servers to allow 50 people, to allow you to stream to 50 people. Pornhub offering premium servers for free in Italy, so people in Italy can spend their time and enjoy their time as well while they have to stay at home. And like we also had like today in our country, we had like TV providers like give everyone extra channels like film channels and kids channels so that people can enjoy their time while being at home. So aside from work, Drew, what do you do during this time when you're advised to stay at home?
Shit, I need to check the Netflix numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have been watching a large copious amount of Netflix. I've been doing video editing stuff. I've not really been playing much games. Though, God, I hope no one from work watches this. I may have taken the odd break to play Shadow of Mordor.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm myself into so much trouble. Yes, so when there's been a quiet period, when I've got nothing to do, I've played like maybe an hour of Shadow of Mordor because little off topic, it's been becoming more and more apparent with Warframe that people are saying, "Oh, the Nemesis system in Shadow of Mordor is so much better." Nah, 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 nah. I've forgotten like all my arguments of why I hate Shadow of Mordor. So Lars was like, "No, you have to play it again." I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to fucking play it again." Like, so I fucking wasted half a day, an entire day downloading the goddamn thing yet again. And yes, I do fucking hate the game. It is garbage and a half. But I'd be more surprised by that number being on a weekday.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'd be more interested to see what the weekday, top of the charts is, not I mean, to be fair, I'm looking at today and it peaked at 19.7 million. Yeah, peaked
Yeah,
at 19.7 million, which, still that's like fucking hell of a lot of people.
it is.
That was again like 2 p.m. or 3 p.m., which is about 10, 11 Eastern time, because they've already had their change in time zones and stuff like this. Which I've got to be honest, this I kind of find this surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's so much more of the world that is not. I think the best term I can come up with is technologically savvy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, okay, if you are a kid, it's best to be taught in classroom. But my friend, who's going to university, she's had her classes all cancelled, right? But there are online lectures. So literally the lecturer will be doing an online presentation at the correct time, going over the course,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there'll be a PowerPoint. So you just got to sit there. You just got to watch it. Effectively, if it was live stream, or you could watch it afterwards, like on whatever video on demand service that they'll use. It won't be YouTube. To see the game. Sorry, so I was looking at the Steam chart to see the lesson whenever the person wants. And likewise, that there are so many things that you could. I mean, okay, you can't stock shelves because that's a physical job. You can't cut hair because that's a physical job. You can't
Mm-hmm.
drive people around as a taxi because no one's getting in your car. That's a physical job. But when you actually have like so much more admin related stuff, you could do it from home,
Hmm.
right? And I always beg the question, like, when it comes to things like call center banks, right? Why can't they hire individuals, say, right, this is your work computer, right? This is your work laptop. It'll only allow you to work during these times. The hard drive is encrypted. We'll know if you try to break it. It has to be on the internet. If it's not on the internet, and you try to get into it, it'll just eat itself, so on and so forth, to up the security of the whole thing, right?
Hmm.
But I don't understand why these people have to come in droves into the city center to work 9 till 5, right? And cause such congestion with such things like rush hour, right? So the whole point, this nearly 20 million today, halfway through the day, I personally find shocking,
Hmm.
because why aren't these people working?
Yeah. No, I 100% understand that. It's like, Psychomus just said, like you're gonna stay at home. It's like, what are you gonna do? Well, you're gonna play games. You're gonna do Netflix. But it's like, honestly, a lot of these things where you're told to stay at home, a lot of these jobs where you're told to stay at home, are jobs or school or things which you can do at home. So like, you still need to do the work. You still need to like do your schoolwork, do your work at home. So like, where people are finding the time to play the games, I don't know. I think that one point which I think is the reason why these centers, like call centers or like workplaces, are really important, is because that they force you to work in a sense, because like you have people around you and these people are watching you. So if you go off and fuck off and play games all day, people will see that, and like maybe that forces better ethics out of you, and maybe it puts you like, it gets you out of your home into a place where like that place is associated with productivity, and it gets you in your mindset of like, okay, it's work time now because I'm in this workplace, which is why like a lot of people tend to go to gyms. Like they drive their car to go to a gym to ride on a stationary bicycle, and don't just like ride their bike somewhere because the gym encourages them to go and like do it because they went to that one
There are other
location.
people there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that there is a really strong valid point there, right? Even in
Hmm.
my own job, I find it a bit of a struggle to message someone, and then I have to wait like 45 minutes
Hmm.
to an hour to get a response. And like, I've messaged you because I need a response. If I was actually in the same office as them, I could just get up, go find them, and then get my answer,
Yeah.
right? But I'm at the whim of them looking at their bloody device.
Yeah.
Um, so I also get that there are people with different work ethics, right?
Hmm.
Me personally, I used to have a really, really bad work ethic, right? When I finished my degree and everything, I got a job at university as a research associate, but there was literally nothing for me to do for like the first 4 to 5 months of my job, right?
Hmm.
I was waiting for a piece of hardware. It wouldn't turn. I was literally playing Minecraft on this i7 PC, right? Because I had nothing to do,
Hmm.
right? I would just fuck about doing all sorts of weird and wonderful shit, right? I'm pretty sure I was doing more work as well, but still, I had nothing to do,
Hmm.
right? Again, and what you call it, later on in my career at the university, I had a job where I was doing this. I was building a platform to allow a secretary to keep better records rather than just a spreadsheet,
Hmm.
right? And I built the whole thing, and I needed to have a meeting with her, right, to discuss whether or not she was happy with the thing I had built. Does it meet the requirements? Like, she kept putting me off for days, for literal days. That was the only thing preventing me from doing any work, right? And I didn't chase it. I was used to not chasing it, And ultimately, my line manager just blew up at me, right, in front of other people. Like, he was, I could have taken him to court over it, because he gave me a disciplinary in front of other people, and employee rights in the UK state you cannot do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to give someone a disciplinary, you have to do it in private. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I had nothing to do, right? Like, and he gave me all sorts of shit, and like, I don't care. Like, I kept on asking for more work. He wouldn't give it to me until I'd done the work that I was given. But like, I couldn't do the work I was given. I was blocked by someone else, right? Oh, it doesn't matter. You got to get it done. I'm like, yeah. So that went south. Then, but in industry, right? If you have free time, you turn to your line manager. You say, "I've got nothing to do." They will find you work, right? Academia was completely different, right? And in industry, like, that really helped me build my work ethic, right? Like, I am so much more proactive at finding stuff to improve, finding stuff. Like, I have built some stuff for my company that has been a godsend, right? If a server goes down, this system will tell us the server has gone down. If the server's costing too much money, this system will tell us, though someone's turned something on, it is hemorrhaging money, right? Stuff like this. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah.
That's really cool,
So
man.
it's
Like,
yeah. And so
that's something you get out of like, or some people get out of like being in this work environment. Like, if you're given all these tasks at home, and you're just like, here, this is what you need to do. Like, some people will just like not get that, or not like improve on that.
yeah, like, genuinely, my place is a mess,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, I'm not gonna lie. I do YouTube videos quite frequently. You can see all my shelves and everything. Apart from that one model over there that's fallen over, like, everything's in perfect order. That's the dressing. That's behind. This is behind the scenes. You can't see this. This is a mess. But this is so pristine, perfect. It gives the illusion that I'm not trying to fuck up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the big thing is this work ethic. So some people see work just as a means to an end, just as a method of being able to, play games at the end of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I could completely comprehend people fucking about, not actually doing their job when they've got the opportunity to work at home. I wouldn't be surprised if they're just click, click, click. The whole Simpsons, Homer gets to work from home because he's too fat, and you know the one I'm referring to, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and he just gets that little duck gadget thing to constantly press Y, and like, again, I completely understand it. That it's important to be able to keep on top of stuff, and I think it's also important to be able to do this, to be able to, talk to people on the regular, to be able to have face-to-face communications, which I think that you and I are perfectly happy to do.
Mhm.
I could get Loz on. Loz will throw up his webcam. I can get anyone on, and as long as they have a webcam. But again, it's the whole audio having a conversation.
Yeah.
But a lot of people outside of gaming sphere, the gamosphere, or even just people that are like super technologically capable, it's hilarious. I listen to stick with the thing. I think that a lot of people that are not in our space, our technological expertise, they are not savvy enough to realize you can have this level of telecommunication, right?
Mhm.
Telepresence. That's the actual technical term for it. The scientific term is telepresence.
Interesting. I
But
didn't know that.
yeah. But the like, it's actually really funny because I'm now working from home. The number of colleagues like, oh, I'm just typing on the Mac to, like, it's this tiny. Hold on, let me unplug this. right, and this, right, there we go. It's like, oh, I'm typing on this tiny little keyboard with this tiny little trackpad, right? Me on the other hand, right? I stole a video cable from work. Well, they know I've got it. I've stolen a USB hub. I have stolen a mouse, right? And a keyboard, right? Dedicated so I can have 2 monitors for this Mac, right? At any one time. I could technically plug in a third one if I wanted to.
Mhm.
And yeah, this is how you work.
Yeah.
This is how you do work. Not on a freaking tiny fucking truck.
They should get you some of these Lenovo ThinkPads or so that they have way better keyboards than like these Mac. Oh boy.
Fucking Mac keyboard, seriously. And like fucking command. Oh my god. Whenever I go from a Windows thing to a Mac thing, I'm like always remembering the difference between command and control.
Yeah, man. But like what you're saying, it's like having even like having a video call like this, like that would go a long way into like making things a lot easier to like do work. Just do a video call. Don't text so much. Anyway,
buy a microphone.
buy a good quality microphone. It doesn't have to be like this, but they're like very good, like $30 USB microphones that do a brilliant job.
Right, here's the big thing. So one of my colleagues, right, turned to me and asked me, like, could we do a sound test, right? She bought this headset, right, from a brand I'd never heard of before. And it had noise cancellation. What the fuck is noise cancellation? Right? I was like, yeah, it's just got noise cancellation on the microphone. Do you mean echo cancellation? No, it's noise cancellation. I'm like, it's a headset. It's a mic. It's that fucking far away. It's that fucking far away. What the fuck is noise cancellation bullshit? Anyway, so and it was awful. It was I could barely make out what she was saying. She spent 50 quid on this headset.
Oh my god!
Right, and I just turned to her, just buy a fucking Corsair. Just buy fucking gaming shit. Gaming shit is like typically high quality, right? Because gamers will not put up with crap. Yeah. Right?
I would honestly say like look for like a USB microphone like the Blue Yeti or like the Samsung C something. Like they're $30 to $50. Used, they're even cheaper, and they're really good. Like no headset mic can beat those things.
I'm pretty sure Loz has a Blue Yeti.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It's really awesome. But anyway, back to like the topic of the entertainment services. I'm also surprised, as you say, that like there is a big peak, and like of course you can be like, oh yeah, of course there's gonna be a big peak. But if you would look at like the Steam charge, like right here from like November-ish to like today, you see there is a rise overall, which I didn't know that Steam still had like a continuous rise in players. But the peak of 20 million right here is pretty significant, and that's a pretty interesting thing to see. I'm honestly really surprised by that, and like. I'm wondering how big of an like how well prepared people are. I am keenly aware that like I was doing like I was trying to get a Netflix today, and like Netflix is like sometimes where it's like stuttering a little bit because I believe like many people are using it now. So yeah, we'll see how things continue out. If you are aware of any cool deals that what is it that any of these entertainment companies put up, if they're like cool games that are like adding extra things in their game, or like Netflix is releasing extra things, or like if they're adding extra features that you're aware of, which companies do now, like there are extra benefits being given because they're like, oh, we're aware that a lot of people are at home. Just like let us know, put it in the comments down below, put it in the chat, put it in like the Discords or whatever, because these are cool things to share. And hey, I mean, let's always make sure that we get like the most positive thing out of the situation. I think, do be cautious. It is something where you like the situation, you have to be aware of like what's going on. But let's get the best thing that we can out of what we're given. And if like these companies are adding extra things to it, that's good. So yeah, I just went over to like the peak on like the Steam charts. It's up. Hold on, I can bring it back up on screen for you to
Nah,
see
that's
it.
fine. That's fine. That's fine.
But it's
I've got
like,
it in front of me.
yeah, it's pretty significant if you look from November to March. Like there's an increase over time, but like there's a pretty steep peak on like the around this time, which is interesting. And I was talking about how, of course, um, I already had Netflix servers have a little bit of lag, which is interesting when like there's a time where a lot of people are watching. So I'm wondering whether there's more like benefits that these services will give to encourage you to spend time on them, and if they do, like please let us know because it's cool to share these things. Anyway, I think that's everything for that topic. If you do have any questions about it, just leave it in chat. We'll get to it later on. Let's just move on to the next topic. I think unless you want to add something to it. That you
Yeah, I'd be interesting to know like how other people are saying the whole quarantine thing is affecting them. That's the thing that I'd be really interested to know. Like, are you quarantined from work? Are you quarantined from work? Are you able to still do your job? How does this affect your pay? How does this, stuff like that? That's what I'd be interested.
Yeah, me too. Actually, how many of the people that are listening to this are like encouraged to work from home, are told to stay at home, are like forced to stay at home by government, and if you have to stay at home, like how well are you capable of doing it? Like I know people that are in university or that are in school and that are like now since first day the schools and universities have closed down. However, like a lot of them haven't gotten their online courses yet. So like they're told that they have to like study from home, but they haven't gotten anything yet. So obviously, what else is there to do but play games? So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm also like I'm also curious about that. Let us know through Twitch chat or through the comments if you're listening to this on YouTube, how this is affecting you, if at all, and how you're dealing with it. That's a good one. I like it.
Cool. Should we move on to the next
Yeah,
one?
let's go to the main topic, the titular topic of today's episode, save for last, called "Gamers Help to Fight COVID-19." So, folding at home, allowing people to aid in COVID-19 research with their own computers, sees notable rise in participants, which clear out work unit queries in days. So, if you're not familiar, there is this program called Folding at Home. So, Folding at Home is a free program that you can download and install, and it allows you to help with donating your processing power to aid disease research by simulating protein folding. So, basically, the idea of this is that there's a lot of research into the way that a protein folds, so the way that the protein functions within the body, and when it at what stages like it might misfold, and if it misfolds, then like that might cause certain diseases like let's say Alzheimer's, cancer, Huntington's, and Parkinson's. Like they're doing research in this, and for that they need to run huge simulations, and these simulations cost a lot of CPU and GPU power. Something which most of these research teams do not have because it's like a lot. So what they do is they put these simulation work units, they put them up on Folding at Home, which is like this program, and you can download it and you can run this program in the background of your PC. So when your PC is idling or while you're doing something, like in the background, it will be doing these simulations, and then once the simulations are done, it will send back the data to the data of the simulations back to the research team so they can work with it. So you can help with the research into some very important and bad diseases and help figuring them out and curing them. So that's something which has been up for a long time. With the introduction of the PlayStation 3, it was also like part of like PlayStation 3. You could run it on your PlayStation, but they have since taken it offline. And a lot of people have been doing it. I've been doing it for a long time too. I think it's a really fun thing to do. But recently, the coronavirus has also been added as a project on Folding at Home to support research into COVID-19. And after that, like there came a lot of public requests from companies like Nvidia, notoriously on Twitter. They put out a large tweet asking people to donate their spare computing power when they don't use their computer to play games to help fight this disease. So they put up a tweet right here saying, PC gamers, let's put those GPUs to work. Join us and our friends in supporting folding at home by donating unused GPU computing power to fight against COVID-19. So honestly, I think that's pretty cool. So far, though, this is like the best thing about it. There haven't been any official numbers that have been stated for like for like how many people have joined in. Now that I could find, but in my experience, I've been doing this for well over a year, but I've never ever experienced that. When I was finished with the work unit, when I was finished with the simulation, that there would not be another thing for me to work on. And that has happened in the last couple of days. Basically, so many people have joined in that they have gone for all the work units that have been put up on these servers, all these simulations that had to be done, and they've just like burst right through them. And now, like, they're adding on extra servers, like 100 terabyte servers, so that they can add more work units, more simulations to be done in the waiting list, and people can go ahead and do them and support research. So honestly, that is something which I find really cool. Really cool research. Really cool that people are actually like doing this and helping out. It may not be much, but anything that I think that you can aid in this is amazing. And of course, not just for coronavirus, but also for things like Alzheimer's, cancers, Huntington's, and Parkinson's. And yeah, I would encourage you to try it and try it out, give it a go if you haven't done it yet, or like if you're interested in it, you have a PC. It doesn't have to be the top of the line PC. Any PC can do it. And check out foldingathome.org. So yeah. Anyway, that's the main topic. Have you heard of Folding at Home before, Drew?
No, I'm going to take the cynical approach to this. This screams to me the whole bit mining fiasco. I don't know how long Folding at Home has existed for. It could be that this is what inspired Bitcoin farming. Yeah, bit mining, whatever. Because, totally needed more of that. But I'm going to give it a go. As soon as it finishes installing, if it finishes installing today, like I'm interested to know how this works. Like, can it run off of an internet connection that is from the Bronze Age? Can it how does it impact my PC, right? When does it work out? Oh, we'll start doing the now. It's stuff like that, because the last thing I would want is for it to start. Oh, it's finally finished. The last thing I would want it to do is start doing it while I'm,
All right, so
doing it
I can
while
clear a couple of things up about that. Let me show you right here, because I also have it installed on this computer right here, though I have it turned off right now because we're doing the stream here. So it's actually a legit thing. This has been going on for years already, like back since when the PlayStation 3 launched. So that's a long time ago. And it's been widely covered. Like it's really supporting university research. It's pretty legit. It's not like some Bitcoin mining scheme. But basically, what you have is like you have this program which you install, and you decide when you want to turn it on. So you will have this interface on your web control where you have like a CPU work unit, a GPU work unit. You will have your identity, and you can earn like internet points, which you can put towards the team, and then like see how much you've done. I'm part of the Linus Tech Tips team because that's how I found out about this. And then if you want to donate some of your processing power because you're not really doing much, you're like typing out a document or something, you can just hit start folding, and then your PC will start working on the unit that it has. Right now, as you can see, the CPU unit on mine is working. There is no GPU unit because mine is finished and there's nothing new, so it's waiting. And then you have different settings. Like you can like your full power go at this. You can put it on like a medium setting, or you can just put it at a light setting. And like the CPU priority of this is always put to low. So basically, anything that you run before it will just like it will give that thing priority. And you can turn it off whenever you like. You can turn it on however you like. You can put it to full because, it's up to you how much you want to use this and how much you want to support. So yeah, it's a really cool thing. It's a really cool, legit thing. I really like it. It's very optional. It's like donating your processing power. And if you don't want to, you can just get rid of it. So yeah, that's Folding at Home. I see you're skeptical.
I'm dude, I'm always skeptical. Don't like. I'm gonna give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, but I'm skeptical of everything. Right?
That's good. Yeah.
It's part of my nature. It's part of like my job. It's part of my career.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I get, oh yeah, check out this new fancy, newfangled thingamabob. It's like what's it called? One of the oh crap, I just closed Slack as well. So I was talking to one of my colleagues about this new service as part of AWS, right?
Mm-hmm.
For anyone that doesn't know, that's Amazon Web Services, and the service is called called Amplify, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was super confused because, like, under Amazon's documentation, Amplify with mobile phones, blah blah. And he turned around and he gave me the sales pitch of Amplify. AWS Amplify is a development platform for building secure, scalable mobile and web applications. It makes it easy for you to authenticate users, securely store data, and use metadata, authorize selective access to data, integrate machine learning, analyze application metrics, and execute server-side code. This is just buzzword after buzzword. I'm gonna so I now have to go away and I have to investigate how this service actually works, because this is the service they want to use. And it might be a case of, yeah, cool, we can use this service, but it's going to cost us this much money. It's supposed to be free. I'll find out when I get there.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things for a lot of these platforms. It's just like, how much money I don't know if have followed or are aware of the whole scandal with Bitcoin farming.
From like a couple of years ago, or is that still going on?
A couple of years ago, still going on. The big thing about Bitcoin farming
Mm-hmm.
is the fact that hiccups. The big thing is that the value of money is based on what's called the gold standard.
Yeah.
Right? Which means how many pounds do you have, or how many dollars do you have, compared to how much gold does the country own?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Way back when, tax used to be collected in precious metals, but precious metals are finite. They were easy to be robbed, so on and so forth, tracking harder, so on and so forth. And it was considered a lot easier to do this with paper, right? To be able to say, right, this paper is the value of however much the pound is to the gold, right? So however much the gold the country has. So the more paper you have, well, it's still got to cover the same amount of gold. So the value of that paper decreases. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the big thing about Bitcoin farming is there may be a limited number of Bitcoins. Like, there is only one expression of pi, right? But the important thing about pi is that it goes on ever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, let's say 2020, this house costs £100 million or 1 Bitcoin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then next year, it costs £100 million or half a Bitcoin or a quarter of a Bitcoin or an eighth of a Bitcoin or a 16th of a Bitcoin or a 32th of a Bitcoin, right? The Bitcoin can be divided up as many times as you want. Like, the concept of, it being half a Bitcoin is a fallacy, because there is no end of a Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's a fad. it was a giant fucking scam, right? And yeah, okay, people like, oh, but the value of a Bitcoin is like really, really high. Yeah, it is because people artificially make it that high. When the Bitcoin market crashes, there's always someone there to inject a load of cash into it to keep it high. Because if they don't, then that pyramid scheme effectively falls through and then they lose a truck ton of money. I think it was Australia, it was found out that like a drug cartel was using bitcoins to actually, move money around, to money launder. They took, the Australian judicial system took those bitcoins out of circulation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you would have thought, oh, that'll make the value of the bitcoins go up. No, it had the reverse effect. There were fewer bitcoins, and as a result, people were less inclined. So people started selling them, right? Oh, there's fewer in circulation, so and then the value just dropped, right? The negative news has a huge negative impact on the stock market. Look at the UK when we had the whole Brexit fiasco, the referendum, should we leave the EU, and then China accidentally sold a load of pound sterling, and as a result, the value of the pound dropped even further.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Accidentally. So that is my concern when it comes to folding at home, right? Call it paranoia, call it whatever. But the whole point is that I see a lot of things mislabeled, misrepresented. That I've seen plenty of websites that try to use your computer through JavaScript to do some cryptocurrency farming, right?
Mm-hmm.
As what are you doing? No, you shouldn't be doing this. And web browsers like Opera and Chrome have had to build in anti-cryptocurrency detection code so that as soon as it sees cryptocurrency in the JavaScript, it bins it off.
Mm-hmm.
How
So
insane is that?
yeah, so I think that with the track record that this has, because this has been released the year 2000, October 1st, 2000.
Yeah.
It was developed by the Pandy Laboratory at the Stanford University.
Right.
And it has been used basically for university research into these diseases, and it has been widely supported by platforms like Sony on their PlayStation 3. It has been recommended by like Nvidia, and even with the tweet that they put out, a lot of their competitors and a lot of like computer builders and their competitors started supporting this thing. It's a widely accepted tool for research, not for Bitcoin mining. Unless they have for 20 years pulled the largest scam in the world, but there is a lot of like support pointing towards this being official. But it's good to be skeptical. Like, do your research for sure. Don't take everything we say as the truth, because we don't necessarily know the truth all the time. So just do your research.
We may have bought into the lie.
Yeah, but do the research. If you want to, I think it's a really cool thing. That people are helping to solve diseases, even if it's in a really small way. It's really, really cool that the spotlight is being shined on this. And if anything of this helps to get us closer to a cure for COVID-19, or get us closer to a cure for any of the other of these other diseases, then that is a good thing. And I think it's really cool that like gamers with like their NVIDIA or AMD GPUs just like come out and just like help out. And I think that's a really, really cool, uplifting story, which I was like, I wanted to share it. If you guys want to help, I would recommend you help out, because it's cool. I like it. I support it. As far as I'm aware, it's legit. And I think it's pretty cool. Sakamis also said folding isn't a scam, it's a legit thing. That really should have more of a spotlight on it. I think so too, because it's helping medical research by not much. Like, you don't have to sacrifice anything much, because if you use your computer to just type Word documents or like read emails or browse the internet, most of the time, like, you have processing power to spare that you could help scientific research, medical research with. And then once you want the game, you just turn it off. You go play games, and like you can turn it on and off whenever you please. But it's just really cool that like this option exists. So yeah.
I think understanding. Well, first off, I think it'd be nice to see the publications that Folding at Home has contributed to,
Mm-hmm.
right? The scientific journals and things like that, because a lot of people that one of the big things that news and stuff like that do is they always refer to someone else, right? But where's the research come from, right? Where's the evidence? Where's the proof, right? I'm just one person in, like the oh god, the sales pitch for AWS Amplify, right? Where's the evidence, right? Where have you ever heard the term citation needed?
Yeah.
Do you know what it means?
Most of the time, it's being put somewhere where you're like we're still awaiting like most of the time it's on Wikipedia where like they're still waiting to like find the source to confirm the information.
Yep, that's it. Exactly. So you need to prove that this is a legit thing. You need to prove that so and so said something. So you have to go and reference something. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't an infallible system, right? Typically in science, you cannot reference Wikipedia because of scandals where a newspaper references Wikipedia, then Wikipedia references the newspaper, and it becomes a circular thing, right? And it turns out it's just completely wrong. Yeah.
So there's actually a link which I shared in chat right now, and I'll probably also throw in the description of the YouTube video of Folding at Home's papers results, where they list all the papers where this thing has contributed to from the year 2000 until the year 2020, and you can read through all the peer-reviewed results.
That's amazing.
So
that's this instantly gives me a truck ton of credibility.
Yeah.
Right. I am more prepared to believe that this thing, but it's so let's talk about it itself, right? One thing I have a concern about is while your computer is idling, it is consuming less electricity, it's consuming less power, right? Than if you were to play a big expensive game that is running full graphics, full CPU, blah, 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 blah. So my question is, right, who is expected to foot the bill? Am I, leaving my computer on, am I still expected to pay the excess energy that is being used to do this stuff?
Yeah, it's that's why it's called like donating processing power. It's like you are sacrificing part of like your processing power and thus also like donating some of the electricity towards it. You're not getting any money from it. Which like if you like recently there was a statement by a medical researcher into the coronavirus where they're like, well, we're like medical researchers are only being paid like $1,800 a month, whereas like superstar football players are being paid millions. Yeah. So like, why don't you all turn to them to like find this cure? Like it's a fact that like a lot of research is not very well funded, so they're depending on donations, and this is a form of donation where like you're donating a bit of your power. I believe there have been like forum posts or something or like YouTube videos where they like detail what power like what the costs are for power or something. Then if you're really concerned about that, then don't do it. But most of the time, like it's such like a small like for me, I don't care. It's like it's just a bit of power, and I don't necessarily leave my computer on for it. It's just like I just run in the background. It's like I play games. But it's a valid concern. Yeah, you should take that into account. But that's your call.
Yeah, so
and
I think
it's a volunteer thing to do.
I think another big thing is actually identifying the cost in your country, because in your region, because electricity costs different in different countries, right? There are some I think in the Netherlands, no, in Denmark. I think Denmark electricity is relatively cheap because they have wind farms bloody everywhere. But in the UK, electricity it changes price. Like during the night, electricity is actually quite cheap, but during the day, it's kind of expensive. So additionally, how often so identifying the cost is a real big thing, right? I highly recommend get a power meter to plug into your PC, right? And monitor your expenses, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to plug it into your monitors. You don't need to plug it into your speakers. I'm actually pointing out this. Oh, I was pointing out the speaker. There it is. It's just what is the PC consuming, and right now my PC is idling quite a lot. The only thing it's currently doing that it's working hard at is the webcam, the
Mm-hmm.
webcam, and the stream I have on the other monitor. That's it. So yeah, I do promote this. I do reckon people should
Mm-hmm.
exercise the use of doing academic research is so important, but no one wants to fund it. No one wants to fund medicine. They just want it to. Oh, I just want it to be there. It's like that's not how this works.
Yeah, it's
So, yeah.
like the process of research is like it's a long one, and you're also during research you're gonna have to like explore a lot of like routes that might not lead to the successful results because you don't know what's gonna be successful when you start out. So like people only tend to invest in the things that they think will succeed, which sucks, which is kind of a different conversation as well because we are nearing like the 2 hours.
Yep.
So yeah, at the end of to round off this topic, I think it's a cool thing that like gamers are helping up. I think it's a really cool thing that like we've been able like collectively we've been able to work through all of their work units that they had prepared, and they're now having to add more servers. That hopefully a lot more people will now continue to support this research and fight these diseases and like get them out of this world sooner rather than later. But I think it's also a really good thing what you said, like be critical of everything. Make sure that you
Be
do your due
skeptical.
diligence. Yeah, be skeptical. That's a good one. Do your due diligence. But yeah, this one's pretty legit. If you want to find out more, foldingathome.org. And yeah, there's a lot of information there too. So, anything you want to add to any of the topics or anything that we've discussed today, Drew? Right.
No, I can't. Like,
Yeah.
one thing I will say is, like, leave a comment. How did you like this structured episode? I'm gonna point blankly say I actually really enjoyed the way we did this episode. I think this is, something that we should carry forward. Any other comments? Just hit us up in the comment section, or message us privately in Discord, what have you. And yeah, no, I actually really enjoyed this episode, and I hope everyone else did too.
Yeah, me too. Definitely. Like, let us know how you felt about the topics. Especially like I think during this time of the year, there's just less things going on that we don't really have like 2 hours to talk about things about one single topic. So like right now, I felt that these four topics were all like kind of interesting, but not like 2 hours long, interesting enough. So we threw them all together, and hopefully it was a fun and enjoyable thing. If you guys have any questions, feel free to post them in chat down below if you're watching this live. If you have any other questions while you're watching this on YouTube, just post them in the comment section. Like I'd be also happy to read out some comments from previous episodes if they are questions in that comment section.
I have a question.
What's the question?
Do you get many comments on the YouTube video?
Yeah, we do on the regular. We don't get like millions of comments, but we do get some really good like substantial comments, like which I read through. I love to read through. Like there are some really avid listeners that will put down really comprehensive essays, which I loved. Like I feel flattered every time like someone takes time out of their day to like write a comment. Like it feels amazing. And then when they write a comment which is like well thought out and structured and paragraphs, I'm like, wow, just take a time to sit and read. I like it.
I don't know about you. Like, I would genuinely kill for a dark mode for the creator studio on YouTube. because like I said, like on the Xeno Codex, I've had some huge mammoth replies, and I struggle to read them because it's black writing on a white back. It's like so not user friendly.
Don't they have dark mode on the regular YouTube app?
Yes, but not on the Creator Studio, which is stupid.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, then I would like click on the video and then go to like the standard app and read it there. But yeah, that sucks. Anyway, it doesn't seem like there are any questions. Dark mode for everything should be a thing for sure, genuinely. Sakamus says. Yeah, Sakamus, I genuinely think that it should be one, too. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As I hope you enjoyed episode 36 of the FrameCast. Stay safe out there, be cautious, but don't panic. Just have fun. Enjoy your time. If you have to stay at home, do your work. Don't slack off, but also, you know, maybe add to those 20 million people on Steam and just play some games when you have the time. You know, have fun. Listen to the FrameCast.
But don't play Shadow of Mordor. Don't play that. Like, bad game. Bad game. Go play Warframe. Don't play Shadow. Bad game. Bad game.
I guess we're not playing Shadow of Mordor then. Right. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.